Cody Bellinger has seemingly, guys, found the answer at the plate.
I'm crying.
What has been the difference for Belly? By the way, that's looking like one of the best offseason signings in the majors right now.
Yeah, I think change of scenery has been a big deal, too. I think that was when I saw him sign with the Cubs, like, he needed that. But I'm glad we're talking about him. Because these past couple years, when he was MVP a few years ago, we're like, this guy's going to take off. And then all of a sudden, he fell off the face of the earth, and now he's back. So I'm glad we're talking about him in a light that's a little differently. I think a big thing with, and you know this game, D-Ro, playing this game injured, that front shoulder injury, I think definitely hurt him.
That was crazy.
Look at these numbers, though, right now. This is what I love. This year in 2000, OPS at 930. Now, the strikeout rate, I think this is a big deal. Put the ball in play. Because it works if you could just put it in play. 14%, look at the whiff rate, down 20.5. Now, he's not hitting his balls as hard, but I don't mind that because put the ball in play, barrel it up, and see what happens. But when you look at his swing as you break it, as we break it down, when you go back and look at these last few years, I think when you take a look at his swing, man, it just didn't look right. It just didn't look right. And I think one of the biggest things is, pause it right here. If you could bring that back when Darvish goes to throw. Now watch this. Go ahead and bring it and keep it coming, and I'm going to show you. Watch this front hip right here on this ball. Front hip, front shoulder, head, all working around the baseball. Watch.
He's already bailing.
So watch him bail. So stop right there. Stop right there. So front foot is bailing. Front hip is bailing.
This is last year?
This is last year. So not really even seeing the ball. And what happens when your front hit and your front foot are open like that, your head is now going to follow them. So run it forward. Watch everything works around the baseball.
Wow.
The finish is to the right around the baseball. Here's another one right here. Same thing. Front hip around the baseball. Pause this one here. Bring that back. Okay, so watch this. Even on the heater, right? Even on the heater, and you look back at his against breaking balls these last couple of years, he's really been bad because he's early. So everything's early, everything's around. So this, boom, stop right there. Front hip, look at the finish, way on the side, almost that merry-go-round. We'll talk about that afterwards. So, okay, now run this through. Now we're looking at what he's doing. This is another one right here. Just same thing, just really losing the plate away. Losing the plate away. Now this year, total different ball game. On balls,
it still wants to fly.
It wants to fly, but I tell you what, he's tighter. Stop it right here. Stop it right here. Okay, now look, this is a changeup that's down and away. Look how he stays a little later. How we know, hey, listen, how many times do we hear graders say, hey, I'm letting the ball travel, the ball travel. So visually, he's holding this a little slight longer, which is keeping that front shoulder in. He's not as open here, so run it. So even though this ball's tailing us, look at that's down and away. He's still able to stay on it and stay to right center. Another one right here. Boom. Okay, bring this back right here. This is a great piece of hitting. This is the Cody Bellinger that we know, MVP type guy. Slow it right here. Okay, now stop right here. See how he's holding this pose?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Run it. Holds the pose. Little later. Everything's a little later. Look where he catches this ball. Bam, dead center out there in Wrigley Field. So when I see Bellinger right now, here's another one. He goes back, bam.
I like that one.
I mean, ball middle in. That one right there. Bring that back, could you? This is a great piece of hitting, too. So he gets this pitch he hasn't been hitting the last couple of years. Slider, waits, stop right there. So look how much tighter it is, D-Row, right? The turn is tighter, the ball is
It doesn't
deeper.
look like he's like really falling forward.
Right,
like
his head's staying back better. He's visually better, so go ahead, run it. Bam. There you're seeing a rocket right there. So when you're seeing Bellinger this year, he's on the breaking balls at a totally different clip. This is in Cincinnati. Another one, great one right here, how he really stays in and drives the ball. And he's seeing the ball later. Look at these numbers right here. Versus non-fastballs this year. He was hitting at a 160 the last 2 years. 387 so far this year at a 677 slug with a 13.8 whip. I mean, I think these numbers are
not punching either.
Not punching, and I think the biggest thing is visually, he's letting the ball get to a different place. I want to show you too.
Can you imagine though?
There's one more board right here, D-Row, real quick. 407 on the average. His slug's at a 630, and we talked about the whip. But third in average and fourth in slug among left-handed hitters. D-Row, I just want to show you really quick what it looks like. And obviously, you did a great breakdown on Bregman earlier on, and I think that I was like, wow, I'm kind of on that same thing with Belly. When you look at Bellinger now, the kryptonite for a big league hitter is when this front hip is too active, right? You get rotational hitting.
It's
right?
what Juan Soto's doing.
Exactly. And then you start kind of working uphill, right? Yeah. So last couple of years, when you look at Bellinger, and I think it had a lot to do with his front shoulder. Had the shoulder surgery, after the 2020 season was never kind of the same. So you start trying to make up for it. So as a hitter, you saw Bregman talk about the lights, at the hips and the shoulders. I want to try and hold the pose as long as I can. So visually, I can be on the breaking stuff. I got to hunt the fastball. And visually, I got to be on the breaking stuff. So I got to be able to keep this front hip and this front shoulder as long as I can as that ball's coming in. So what we're seeing now from Bellinger is he's holding his pose and he's committing later. Right? Yeah. Nothing worse as a hitter than when you commit too soon, especially against some of these guys that have great run in the zone. If you commit too soon and that front hip starts flying, what happens? The head, the shoulder, everything goes, and you get that merry-go-round effect. You don't want to, as a hitter, you don't want to be coming here with this flying and have this effect to the baseball where you're around it. You almost want to have like the Ferris wheel effect where you're waiting, you're A to B to the ball, you're down, you hit it, and then you kind of finish high. You want to finish high and have that effect almost like a Ferris wheel. When I looked at him, it's like it's that merry-go-round.
Creating bad angles. How long can you keep your bat head in the zone? You hear so many of the good big league hitters, and when Casey talks about what is that, merry-go-round?
Yeah.
All right, so ready. So if you think about it, I'm in the zone, I'm out of the zone.
Right.
I'm in the zone for a split second, I'm out of the zone. But if you're thinking Ferris wheel, where you're in the zone right here, and it keeps pushing through gap to gap.
Yeah.
He's interesting, too, because, and not a lot of guys, you go back, that's why it's feel versus real, man. I could sit up here for hours with you. Oh, I was a guy that had to feel a load into my backside. You watch Paul Molitor back in the day, he sat there stagnant, went bang, and was one of the best hitters of all time.
Right.
Bellinger, for me, he gets in trouble because he starts here and he's going down a hill, colliding.
Right.
So I think when he gets into trouble, you even see there, it's more of a little bit of a shorter stride, more under control.
His head's not moving as much. I just think visually he's more stacked. He's staying he's seeing the ball better.
I love the sign.
Yeah, I love it too, man. Like I said, I want to say good things about Cody Bellinger. He's one of the best, still one of the best young.
Can you imagine going through, it's hard to do what he did. 39 homers as a rookie, 40 plus, MVP, toast of the town, and then go into a straight abyss. But when I was at the winter meetings, real quick, I'll wrap it up, played golf with Will Smith, catcher for the Dodgers, and we were talking about, before the WBC, getting into Dodger season. He's like, we're going to miss him. Even if he didn't hit, he was Gold Glove anywhere you put him. So, he just added value consistently. Cubbies are interesting.
Yeah, and this is going to be
Dansby.
Can you imagine if he gets back to that MVP form? What a sign for the Cubs.
Nico.
Well, it's a one-year deal, Lauren, and he could have a potential lucrative another bite at the apple.
He has played in the postseason every year he's been in the big leagues. Does he play in the postseason this year?
Ooh.
Yes or no? Since 2017.
Man, I'd love to see the Cubbies back in it.
Good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
They look good.
In that division.
Great stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Nico, Miso, Horner. Bang.
Jazz, period, Chisholm.
Period.
Got to have a separator there.